What's up everybody, welcome to another camera comparison video. Today I have this Xiaomi 12S Ultra, Motorola Edge 30 Ultra and iPhone 14 Pro Max. Okay, I have done a separate camera comparison between iPhone 14 Pro Max and Huawei Mate 50 Pro, and I have also done another camera comparison between iPhone 14 Pro Max and Xiaomi 12S Ultra, where I have compared action mode of iPhone 14 Pro Max with steady video pro of Xiaomi 12S Ultra. If you are interested, go ahead, check those videos. And today it's gonna be a bit surprising, a bit frustrating, because I believe what you have expected, maybe you are not gonna get that result. I was a bit surprised, I was a bit frustrated. So let's see which one has actually done better. But before we start the video, one moment for the sponsor of this video, Pitaka. I have been using Pitaka protective cases on all of my iPhones from 11 series. Yeah, from iPhone 11 series, I only trust Pitaka protective cases. If you are looking for the most premium protective case, if you are looking for the best protection and the most fashionable appearance, then I think Pitaka protective cases are the ones that you should check. I have left a link in the description box below. If you are interested, go ahead, check that one. One more thing. If you end up liking this video, then please don't forget to click on the like button and please subscribe to this channel. What's up everybody, welcome to another camera comparison video. Today I have this iPhone 14 Pro Max, Xiaomi 12S Ultra, and yeah, we also have Motorola Edge 30 Ultra. Let's check Xiaomi 12S Ultra and iPhone 14 Pro Max side by side, and then we will check iPhone 14 Pro Max and Motorola Edge 30 Ultra. Definitely, iPhone 14 Pro Max has a better selfie camera. The differences are like day and night. I am feeling super crazy. Oh my gosh. There is no dynamic range. Color grading is definitely better on iPhone 14 Pro Max. Skin tone, detail level. Yeah, exposure is better on iPhone 14 Pro Max. Well, listen carefully which smartphone has a better noise cancellation, because I'm standing beside a street, there are a lot of noise. Which smartphone has actually reproduced my sound clearly? Well, let's check stabilization. How is it? Which one is better? Okay, I have flipped Xiaomi 12S Ultra with Motorola Edge 30 Ultra. Let's check again. Which one do you think has wider dynamic range? It's crazy. iPhone 14 Pro Max has really done so better, far better than these Android smartphones. The only smartphone selfie camera which comes close to iPhone 14 Pro Max is in my pocket. Samsung Galaxy S22 Ultra. Oh, by the way, Motorola Edge 30 Ultra can also record selfie videos in 4K. So both the iPhone 14 Pro Max and Motorola Edge 30 Ultra selfie videos are recorded in 4K, 30 frames per second. Well, you check carefully and let me know which smartphone has done better. And yeah, if you end up liking this video, if you find this video helpful, then please don't forget to click on the like button and subscribe to this channel. That helps a lot. I have mentioned this in many of my camera comparison videos. Almost all these smartphones struggles in different type of artificial lighting condition. Let's start with indoor photos. I have taken all the photos in auto mode with auto HDR, and I have disabled AI. White balance in most of the photos taken with Xiaomi and Motorola is a bit off. In some photos it's almost okay, but in general it's far from natural. On the other hand, color grading of iPhone 14 Pro Max is almost natural yet eye-pleasing, while Xiaomi has rendered colors with some sort of artificial tone. It feels like color pop effect. In some occasions, I have noticed Motorola Edge 30 Ultra photos are a bit overexposed, while iPhone 14 Pro Max has more shadow detail, textures are neither too soft nor too sharp. In most of the occasions, Xiaomi 12S Ultra has done well, especially in soft lighting conditions. Xiaomi has reproduced photos with enormous detail, well-balanced highlights and shadow, but it gets worse when there are a lot of different light sources and a lot of different colors needed to be reproduced. It doesn't mean Xiaomi and Motorola has poorly performed than other flagships, it's just iPhone 14 Pro Max has one of the best algorithm for indoor artificial light environment. A few years ago, I used to hate Oneplus devices due to its color tint. I'm not sure why Xiaomi has decided to pick that. Look at the sky color tone of Xiaomi 12S Ultra. It's awful, terrible it is. Well, don't get hurt or don't feel so happy so easily. This is going to be a bumpy ride for both the Xiaomi, iPhone and Motorola fanboys. Even if Xiaomi 12S Ultra comes with Leica optimized algorithm and a bigger sensor, there is no guarantee Xiaomi has perfectly optimized it. Yeah, Xiaomi 12S Ultra comes with a better ultra-wide sensor, and actually sometimes Xiaomi 12S Ultra has done better and sometimes iPhone 14 Pro Max has done better. In good lighting conditions, Xiaomi 12S Ultra has done better with more detail, almost natural color tone mapping, better exposure, better shadow, and in harsh conditions like when sunlight is hitting the lens, Xiaomi has way better exposure and dynamic range. What has surprised me is Motorola Edge 30 Ultra. Side by side with iPhone 14 Pro Max, it has stood its ground. Motorola Edge 30 Ultra with a mediocre ZN1 50MP sensor has fought well, but iPhone has grabbed more shadow details along with better exposure. Considering all the aspects and the price tags of these phones, Motorola offers the best value while Xiaomi offers the best performance. Xiaomi has tried to improvise human photo and portrait photo performance with a few updates, but even after all those efforts, Xiaomi 12S Ultra still has a few issues. I cannot deny that Xiaomi has managed to minimize beauty effect, but skin fairness and skin smoothing beauty effect still plays a big role in human photos. Well, as usual, iPhone has overprocessed the sky color, increased highlights a bit, and color temperature is slightly colder than natural. Other than these factors, human photos taken with iPhone 14 Pro Max are really better than Xiaomi 12S Ultra. Xiaomi has sometimes failed to maintain correct contrast and sometimes failed to neutralize white balance. Both the Xiaomi and iPhone has reproduced correct hair color and skin tone of Kim, but iPhone has more detail on the subject and textures are well processed. I think this is more important than any other preferential factors. I was worried that Motorola, being a Lenovo-owned Chinese brand, would fail heavily beside iPhone 14 Pro Max in human photos, cause Chinese brands tend to have heavy beauty effect. But no, Motorola Edge 30 Ultra has pretty minimum, almost negligible beauty effect. But there is another issue. As all these photos were taken under harsh sunlight, as light was hitting the lens from an angle, brightness, contrast, and exposure management played a big role. Even if Motorola has grabbed enormous detail on the subject, due to poor balance between brightness and contrast, it has reproduced darker images. In some occasions, Motorola has tried to overprocess, oversharpen to compensate exposure and dynamic range, but that didn't help at all, rather worsened the photos. Natural color rendition, true-to-life skin tone, and sharper hair strains put Motorola Edge 30 Ultra ahead of iPhone, but poor texture processing along with brightness, contrast and exposure issue puts Motorola behind. iPhone 14 Pro Max has reproduced vivid and vibrant human photos with a lot of detail and sharper textures. For human photography, obviously iPhone 14 Pro Max remains the first choice among these three smartphones. It's very difficult. There is no rule of thumb that shows why or when which of these phones will perform better than the other. Side by side, Xiaomi 12S Ultra and iPhone 14 Pro Max has done well in different occasions under different type of lighting environment. In some photos, Xiaomi has more detail, sharper textures, better color grading and better exposure, while in some other photos, iPhone 14 Pro Max has more detail, sharper textures, natural white balance and better exposure. It's very difficult to rule a winner, but in general, iPhone 14 Pro Max is edge ahead. On the other hand, Motorola Edge 30 Ultra has actually surprised me by putting up a heavy fight against iPhone 14 Pro Max under bright sunlight. Motorola Edge 30 Ultra tends to reproduce contrasty photos with sharper textures, and it's really hard to believe that Edge 30 Ultra has similar level of shadow detail as 14 Pro Max. After doing some heavy pixel peeping, I'm truly amazed by the performance of Motorola Edge 30 Ultra. It may not be better than iPhone 14 Pro Max, but it's worthy of what it costs. As Xiaomi 12S Ultra doesn't have any 2 or 3 times telephoto lens, Xiaomi 12S Ultra uses its main sensor to grab bokeh photos and adds synthetic processing to give it a 50mm look. I think this is the worst part of Xiaomi 12S Ultra. It's good to be confident, but overconfidence hurts. Xiaomi engineers have been trying a lot to reproduce nice portrait photos with the main sensor from Xiaomi Mi 11 Ultra, and they have continuously failed to deliver. Poor edge detection, poor edge cutouts, and heavy synthetic bokeh along with heavy beautification, heavy skin fairness, very high contrast, and sometimes awfully high highlights. Altogether, trust me, this is even worse than Xiaomi 12S Pro. I cannot say iPhone 14 Pro Max has done way better than Xiaomi. It also has edge detection issues, a bit of saturation, but iPhone 14 Pro Max has managed to grab a lot more details on the subject. It has reproduced almost correct skin tone, it has sharper textures, creamy bokeh, better exposure. Yeah, iPhone 14 Pro Max has won this segment by a mile. Motorola Edge 30 Ultra can take portrait photos in 3 different focal lengths: 35mm, 50mm and 85mm. These portrait photos were taken in a super harsh lighting condition, and you can clearly see that even iPhone 14 Pro Max has struggled to reproduce quality portrait photos. So when I have compared these photos side by side, I was like super surprised. Motorola has actually managed to put up a fight with iPhone in portrait mode. iPhone 14 Pro Max has more detail, better synthetic processing and better skin tone. Color rendition of these two phones are almost similar in portrait mode, but Motorola has a bit warmer color temperature and that makes a little difference. Both the iPhone and Motorola has poor edge detection and edge cutouts. Separation between the subject and background is also very similar, but bokeh effect of iPhone 14 Pro Max seems to be a bit better. iPhone 14 Pro Max is the winner, but Motorola Edge 30 Ultra, which costs less than half of iPhone 14 Pro Max, has performed beyond my expectations. At the beginning, I thought I should skip selfie photos segment cause no matter how we try, it's very difficult to get great selfie photos from most of the Chinese brands. Xiaomi and Motorola both have added beautification, overprocessing, skin smoothing, skin fairness. Xiaomi and Motorola have these issues in their stock camera algorithm. On the other hand, iPhone is still one of my most favorite smartphones for its true-to-life selfies with a lot of details. It is not only hard for Xiaomi 12S Ultra and Motorola Edge 30 Ultra to match the selfie performance of iPhone 14 Pro Max, it is a daunting task. Exposure management, skin tone, color rendition, brightness, contrast, shadows. There isn't a segment where Xiaomi 12S Ultra and Motorola Edge 30 Ultra got anything better than iPhone 14 Pro Max in selfie or selfie portraits. I have taken many selfies with many different clothing, and I have to tell you that these are the best set of selfie photos and portraits that Xiaomi and Motorola have produced for us. The other set of selfie photos of Xiaomi and Motorola are totally incomparable to iPhone 14 Pro Max. This is a segment where Xiaomi 12S Ultra should have bagged an easy win, cause 12S Ultra comes with a Sony IMX586 48MP sensor tagged to a 5x zoom periscope lens. These are 10x zoom photos. Xiaomi has grabbed tons of detailed information, textures and highlights are also well processed. In terms of sharpness, shadow and exposure, Xiaomi 12S Ultra 10 times zoom photos are better than iPhone 14 Pro Max, which is almost unbelievable. But Motorola Edge 30 Ultra has failed to beat iPhone 14 Pro Max in 10 times zoom photos, cause it comes with a 2 times zoom telephoto lens, so definitely it is a bit hard for Motorola to compete with iPhone's 3 times zoom telephoto lens. iPhone has lot more definition and sharper textures, better ratio of contrast and brightness. On top of these, iPhone 14 Pro Max has also managed to neutralize white balance. iPhone 14 Pro Max has done incredibly well in low-light zoom photos. I really didn't expect this. I was thinking that Xiaomi 12S Ultra would win this segment. But iPhone 14 Pro Max with a 3 times telephoto lens and a 12 megapixel sensor has almost crushed Xiaomi 12S Ultra and Motorola Edge 30 Ultra. iPhone 14 Pro Max has not only got more detail, it has better color grading, wider dynamic range and exposure. Motorola Edge 30 Ultra has done better than Xiaomi 12S Ultra in 3 times zoom photos, cause Motorola comes with a 2 times zoom telephoto lens and Xiaomi has to depend on its main sensor for anything below 5 times zoom. I'm truly surprised to see that Motorola has even fought well in low light 5 times zoom photos, but considering all the aspects, yeah, iPhone has won the low light zoom battle with a big margin. Alright, it's time for nighttime photos. All the phones have a new sensor with some amazing features, so I have expected a tight battle. But I'm a bit disappointed, cause iPhone being an iPhone has done better than both the Xiaomi and Motorola. I have to accept that Xiaomi 12S Ultra has done better than Motorola Edge 30 Ultra but has failed to beat iPhone 14 Pro Max. After checking a lot of night mood photos, I have noticed iPhone 14 Pro Max has more details, better exposure, better white balance and better color grading. While both the Xiaomi and Motorola have failed in demanding situations under harsh lighting condition. I personally believe that there are 4 factors that defines a good night mood photo. I call it DENS: detail, exposure, noise and shadow. If a smartphone can get these 4 correct in low light photos, then I will surely go with that. Yeah, you have got it right. iPhone has got almost all 4 correct, while Xiaomi and Motorola got only 2 of these factors correct. iPhone 14 Pro Max with incredibly well exposure and with lot more detail has produced better low light photos. I personally don't take ultra-wide photos in low light cause most of these smartphones fail to deliver super quality ultra-wide photos in low light. When we have checked daytime ultra-wide photos, I have already mentioned Xiaomi 12S Ultra comes with a flagship class Sony IMX 48 megapixel sensor and Motorola Edge 30 Ultra comes with a mediocre Samsung ISOCELL JN1 50 megapixel sensor. So yeah, Xiaomi 12S Ultra has reproduced some nice ultra-wide photos. In some occasions, Xiaomi's ultra-wide photos have more detail and better shadow detail than iPhone, but in general, iPhone 14 Pro Max has done marginally better than Xiaomi 12S Ultra. Motorola Edge 30 Ultra's ultra-wide photos are good to be compared with other flagships, but beside iPhone 14 Pro Max, Edge 30 Ultra has more noise and grains, poor exposure and less detail with soft textures. Well, I have mentioned this in my previous video. Even if action cam works perfectly fine, I do not recommend it if it's not 100% required, cause it grabs slightly less detail, exposure isn't that perfect. If there is a sudden shift in lighting condition, it takes a while to fix the exposure. But surprisingly, color grading and white balance is truly natural in action mode. Okay, action mode actually brings premium gimbal-like stability. I have tried to shake the phones and the result is unbelievable. I have actually selected 2.8K on iPhone and 1080p on Xiaomi, cause at 4K, Xiaomi couldn't even handle the shakes and bumps. iPhone has incredibly wide dynamic range and none of the Xiaomi 12S Ultra or the Motorola Edge 30 Ultra had an answer to that. Definitely Motorola has grabbed more detailed processed textures with clarity and sharpness, but color temperature is a bit warm and sometimes highlights is a bit too high. Yeah, as I have continuously shaked and moved the phones, Motorola Edge 30 Ultra has wobbled and there are a lot of judder and jitteriness. But truly, that's nothing considering that most of the other budget mid-range smartphones have totally failed. I have already mentioned about this in my other videos. Motorola Edge 30 Ultra is a gem. It's a piece of uncut diamond and has all the potential to do better. I wish Motorola will put more effort to optimize this beast. Cause after a new update, Motorola Edge 30 Ultra has already got better and exposure management is way better than before. Okay, if I'm not gonna use this iPhone 14 Pro Max, then I will skip all the other flagships and will go down to Motorola Edge 30 Ultra and take that as my daily drive. Okay, after watching through this video, what do you think? Which one is the winner? Definitely iPhone 14 Pro Max is the winner, but considering the price, I think Motorola Edge 30 Ultra has done very good, better than Xiaomi 12S Ultra. Do you agree with me? Please let me know in the comment section below. Yeah, Xiaomi 12S Ultra has done very good too, but considering its price and the specification of Xiaomi 12S Ultra, I actually had better expectations from Xiaomi 12S Ultra. So I think we have to wait. Let's see whether Xiaomi can improvise the camera performance of Xiaomi 12S Ultra with new updates. But don't forget that other brands will also do the same. So if you want me to do any other camera comparison with this iPhone 14 Pro Max or iPhone 14 Pro or iPhone 14 Plus, then let me know, because I have all the 4 different iPhone 14 series smartphones and I would love to do another camera comparison as per your request. So don't forget to make a comment and a request for your preferred camera comparison video. If you have liked this video, then please don't forget to click on the like button and please subscribe to this channel. And if you haven't enabled notification yet, please enable that.